Rebellion isn't a sign of weakness. It's often the most vital expression of personal freedom. Throughout history and across cultures, the figure of the rebel has stood as a powerful and enduring archetype. A rebel is more than someone who defies rules or challenges authority. They represent a more profound, almost primal urge to resist, push boundaries, and seek change. While discussing the psychology of the rebel, we begin to understand why this figure has captivated our imaginations and inspired movements throughout time. The rebel archetype speaks to our inherent desire for freedom and autonomy, the drive to forge our own paths. This archetype is rooted in the human psyche. It embodies the light and shadow aspects of rebellion, the hero fighting for justice and the outcast disrupting order. The rebel archetype is deeply embedded in the collective unconscious, a term coined by Carl Jung to describe the universal experiences of humanity. At its core, the rebel embodies the drive to break free from restrictions, whether they are imposed by society, authority, or even internal limitations. This archetype represents the pursuit of individuality and self-expression, often in the face of overwhelming opposition. The rebel is motivated by a desire for change, seeing the flaws in the current system and feeling compelled to challenge them. This psychological pattern is not limited to a specific age, culture, or era. It is a timeless aspect of human nature. As Mark Twain once said, "Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect." This reflection often ignites the rebel within, prompting a departure from the norm and a journey into the unknown. Rebellion holds a unique allure in society, often seen as a symbol of courage, authenticity, and the fight for what is right. The act of rebelling taps into a deep psychological need for autonomy and self-determination. In a world that often pressures conformity, the rebel represents the courage to be different, to think critically, and to resist the herd mentality. This allure is powerful in youth when individuals explore their identities and question the world around them. Rebellion becomes a form of self-expression, a way to assert individuality and carve out a personal space in a world that seems intent on defining us. Oscar Wilde famously noted, "Disobedience, in the eyes of anyone who has read history, is man's original virtue." This virtue, this defiance of imposed norms, makes rebellion so compelling and, at times, necessary for progress. The rebel archetype has manifested in countless historical figures, each embodying the spirit of defiance and the quest for change. From Prometheus in Greek mythology, who defied the gods to bring fire to humanity, to historical figures like Joan of Arc, who led a rebellion against the English and was later canonized as a saint, the rebel has always been a symbol of transformation. In more recent history, figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. have used nonviolent rebellion to challenge oppressive systems and bring about profound social change. These rebels are celebrated not just for their defiance, but for their vision of a better world. The seeds of rebellion are often sown in the early stages of childhood, where the foundational aspects of personality and behavior take shape. During this critical period, children develop a sense of self and autonomy, often leading to the first instances of defiance and resistance. These early experiences set the stage for how individuals respond to authority and societal norms later in life. Rebellion, in many ways, is an ordinary and necessary part of growing up, an expression of the desire to break free from constraints and carve out a unique identity. These early acts of rebellion, such as refusing to follow instructions or challenging parental authority, are expressions of the child's struggle to assert their own will. Erik Erikson, a renowned developmental psychologist, described this as the autonomy versus shame and doubt stage, where children learn to exercise their will and make choices. This early rebellion is a critical step in building confidence and self-esteem, which is essential for navigating life's complexities. The debate over whether rebellion is a product of nature or nurture has long intrigued psychologists and researchers. On one hand, some argue that rebellion is an inherent trait driven by genetic predispositions and biological factors. Studies have shown that certain personality traits, such as high levels of extroversion and openness to experience, are associated with a greater likelihood of rebellious behavior. On the other hand, nurture proponents believe that environmental influences, including parenting styles, cultural norms, and social interactions largely shape rebellion. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. Rebellion may be influenced by an individual's innate temperament. Still, it is also molded by the experiences and environments they encounter throughout their development. As the philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau once said, "Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains." This suggests that while the potential for rebellion exists within us all, society's constraints and pressures often bring it to the surface. The rebel's mindset is a complex interplay of psychological traits and core beliefs that drive their actions and shape their worldview. At the heart of rebellion lies a distinctive set of characteristics that set rebels apart. These traits are often intertwined with a profound desire for independence, a propensity for nonconformity, and a willingness to take risks. Understanding these core traits and the underlying value system of rebels provides insight into what motivates their actions and distinguishes between productive and destructive forms of rebellion. Rebels are often defined by their strong sense of independence, which drives them to forge paths and resist external pressures. This independence manifests as a desire to choose based on personal values rather than societal expectations. Nonconformity is another central trait of rebels, characterized by their reluctance to adhere to conventional norms and standards. Rebels thrive on challenging established norms and pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable. Coupled with these traits is a willingness to take personal and professional risks. As the writer Anais Nin once said, "Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage." This courage to defy norms and take risks often defines the rebel's journey and sets them apart. Rebels' actions are often guided by a unique value system that prioritizes authenticity, justice, and personal freedom. Rebels are driven by a deep-seated belief in living authentically and staying true to oneself. This value system compels them to challenge systems and structures they perceive as unjust or oppressive. Rebels are motivated by a moral or ethical duty to bring about change. This drive is not merely about defying authority for its own sake, but about addressing perceived wrongs and advocating for a vision of a better world. While rebellion can be a powerful force for positive change, it is crucial to differentiate between healthy rebellion and destructive behavior. Healthy rebellion is characterized by a constructive challenge to the status quo to foster growth and improvement. It involves questioning existing norms, advocating for justice, and pursuing innovation, all while maintaining a sense of purpose and respect for others. In contrast, destructive behavior often arises from unresolved anger, frustration, or a desire for personal gain rather than genuine change. This rebellion can lead to chaos, harm, and division rather than progress. Healthy rebels use their actions to inspire and effect change, while those engaging in destructive behavior may create discord and undermine their own goals. Rebellion and personal identity are deeply intertwined, as defying and challenging norms play a crucial role in shaping one's sense of self. Rebellion is not just an external act of resistance. It is an internal journey that contributes significantly to forming personal identity. This process involves searching for meaning and authenticity as individuals use rebellion to navigate their values and beliefs. Additionally, the social and political contexts in which rebellion occurs heavily influence the development of a rebel identity. Understanding how rebellion contributes to the formation of self helps us appreciate its role in personal growth and self-discovery. For many individuals, rebellion is not merely an act of defiance but a quest for meaning and authenticity. Rebellion provides a platform for exploring and expressing one's true self, often in contrast to societal expectations and norms. Through rebellion, individuals challenge superficial values and seek to align their actions with their core beliefs and passions. The rebel's pursuit of meaning is driven by a desire to live a genuine life to their convictions. As author Hermann Hesse wrote, "Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go." Rebellion can be a way of letting go of imposed identities and embracing a more authentic self. The presence of rebels within society often sparks debate about their roles and the consequences of their actions. Rebels are seen as either agents of change, challenging injustices and fostering progress, or as sources of chaos, disrupting social order and creating conflict. Their rebellion typically arises as a reaction to perceived oppression, injustice, or control, reflecting deep-seated grievances and the desire for transformation. Understanding the societal role of rebels and the multifaceted consequences of rebellion provides insight into how such actions shape societies and individuals alike. Rebellion often emerges as a direct response to various forms of oppression, injustice, and control. Individuals and groups resort to rebellion when they perceive those in power to compromise their rights, freedoms, or well-being. This form of rebellion is not random, but rather a strategic response to systemic issues that need addressing. Historical examples include the French Revolution, which arose from widespread discontent with aristocratic rule and economic inequality, and the feminist movements advocating for women's rights in the face of entrenched gender discrimination. As Nelson Mandela famously stated, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is the difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead." This statement underscores the idea that rebellion, driven by a quest for justice, can be a powerful force for addressing deep-rooted societal problems. Throughout history and mythology, rebels have played pivotal roles in shaping societies and cultures. Historical rebels such as Che Guevara and Joan of Arc exemplify the profound impact that individuals can have on their societies. Che Guevara, a key figure in the Cuban Revolution, became a symbol of revolutionary struggle and anti-imperialism. His commitment to Marxist ideals and armed struggle against colonial powers made him both a hero and a controversial figure. Guevara's legacy symbolizes resistance against oppression and the quest for social justice. Similarly, Joan of Arc, a peasant girl who claimed divine guidance, led French forces to victory against the English during the 100 Years' War. Her courage and faith in the face of overwhelming odds transformed her into a national hero and martyr. Guevara and Joan of Arc illustrate how rebels can alter the course of history through their actions and ideals. As Guevara once said, "The revolution is not an apple that falls when it is ripe. You have to make it fall." This quote encapsulates the proactive and transformative nature of rebellion. In mythology and literature, rebels often embody profound themes of defiance and resistance. Prometheus, the Titan in Greek mythology, defied Zeus by stealing fire from the gods and giving it to humanity. His act of rebellion symbolizes the quest for knowledge and enlightenment and the consequences of challenging divine authority. Similarly, once an archangel, Lucifer rebelled against God and was cast out of heaven. His story represents the struggle for autonomy and the rejection of absolute authority, embodying the fallen hero archetype. These mythological figures challenge the established order and reflect more profound philosophical questions about power, knowledge, and the human condition. As John Milton wrote in Paradise Lost, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." The psychological struggle between rebellion and conformity reflects a deep-seated conflict within individuals and societies. This tug-of-war between the desire to challenge norms and the pressure to adhere to them is a fundamental aspect of human behavior. The tension between the need to rebel and the pressure to conform is a significant psychological dynamic. On the one hand, individuals may feel a compelling urge to resist and challenge societal norms, driven by personal values, dissatisfaction, or a desire for change. This rebellion is often a response to perceived injustices or societal limitations. On the other hand, there is an intense psychological drive to conform, influenced by the need for social acceptance, fear of rejection, and the desire for stability. Conformity provides a sense of belonging and security, which can be appealing in the face of the uncertainties associated with rebellion. This internal conflict can lead to various behaviors, from passive compliance to active resistance. Psychologist Carl Jung noted, "The greatest and most important life problems are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved but only outgrown." This quote reflects the ongoing struggle between rebellion and conformity, highlighting the complexity of resolving this internal tension. The paradox of the rebel lies in the potential for rebellion to evolve into a new form of conformity. Once a rebellion succeeds and becomes institutionalized, the ideas and values that were once considered radical may become the new norms. Rebels who once challenged existing systems may become part of a new establishment, enforcing the principles they once opposed. This transformation illustrates how rebellion can create new conventions and power structures, perpetuating a cycle of resistance and conformity. The rebels' quest for change can thus result in the establishment of new norms that future rebels may eventually challenge. As author and philosopher Albert Camus remarked, "Rebellion cannot exist without a strange form of respect for the laws it is challenging." This paradox underscores the complex nature of rebellion, where the pursuit of change can lead to the emergence of new forms of conformity, perpetuating an ongoing dynamic between resistance and adherence. The legacy of the rebel mindset is profound and multifaceted, leaving a lasting imprint on culture and society. Rebels often shape history, challenging norms and inspiring change, yet their actions can blur the line between heroism and infamy. As we reflect on rebellion's impact, we also confront whether to embrace or resist the rebel within ourselves. Rebels can remarkably shape culture and society, often serving as catalysts for significant change. Historical figures like Nelson Mandela and Rosa Parks have left indelible marks on the world, driving movements that reshaped social and political landscapes. The distinction between heroism and infamy in the context of rebellion is often blurred. While some rebels are celebrated as heroes for their courage and contributions to social justice, others may be vilified or remembered with ambivalence due to the methods they employed or the consequences of their actions. The same qualities that drive rebellion, such as defiance, nonconformity, and risk-taking, can lead to contrasting evaluations depending on the outcomes and societal perspectives. Ultimately, embracing or resisting the rebel within is a profoundly personal decision reflecting our values and aspirations. Rebellion can be a powerful force for change, driving us to challenge injustices and pursue our convictions. However, careful consideration of our actions' potential consequences and ethical implications is also required. The key is to balance the drive for change with an awareness of the broader impact of rebellion. As philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster." This final thought encourages us to thoughtfully navigate the complexities of rebellion, striving to harness its power for constructive purposes while remaining mindful of its potential pitfalls.